Today's segment includes the installation of the KSPEED intake grate included with the Stage 1 kit, as well as a comparison with the stock grate, so stay tuned to see the weights of each separate grate as well as the differences. Hey guys, JD here with the 2022 Kawasaki Ultra 310 LXS supercharged jet ski, and today we'll be installing the first component of our KSPEED Stage 1 kit, and that is our intake grate. So I've given you a little bit of a background about this in my last video, and today we're going to go ahead and do the installation on this grate. Then I am going to seal the grate with some silicone. You don't have to do this, but really, I think sealing up the grate and the ride plate and everything, my experience is that having it properly sealed will buy you about 1 to 2 miles an hour. And since I'm chasing every bit I can get with this kit, I'm gonna make sure everything is cleaned and sealed up properly. All right, let's get to it. All right, so we're under the ski and you're looking at the stock intake grate right now. These are 6mm Allens, so you're gonna need a 6mm Allen wrench to get them off. So the stock bolts do have washers. You do not need to reuse these washers for the KSPEED intake grate. Get those two off. Now, of course, because of the position of the ski on my trailer, I have to use a regular 90-degree Allen key to get off these two rear ones. Just so happened that they're exactly over the cross member on the trailer. Next, you're going to remove these other two. It's hard for me to do it while holding it in place, so I'm just showing you. I'm using a Milwaukee M12 ratchet. Okay, so we've got the stock intake grate removed. This is a great opportunity to inspect your impeller. Make sure there's no damage. If there is damage, replace it. And now what we're gonna do is get the new one in place, bolt it up, and then apply some silicone, and we will be good to go. So now that we've got the stock grate off, I wanted to give you a comparison between the two. So I'll line the base plate up there exactly. The first thing you can see on the stock grate is that these bolt holes are actually quite a bit deeper. You could also see it's got this extra grill in the center. And then the angle of these is a little more rounded on the KSPEED grate, where these are more squared. In terms of the opening, so now what I want to do is I'm actually going to put these both on a scale, and we're going to see the weight difference between them as well. Make sure we're zeroed out. And now our stock grate, let's see, is a little more difficult, the sizing. There you go. 2 pounds, 3.2 ounces. So again, there's our stock grate. That's 2 pounds, 3.1 ounces. And then here's our KSPEED grate. And our KSPEED grate is 1 pound, 9.8 ounces. So you can see that the KSPEED grate is lighter than the stock grate. And we're gonna go ahead and put some blue Loctite on these bolts. We're gonna install the front 2 bolts first by hand, and we're gonna install the rear 4. Then we're gonna tighten them all up. Yep. So we've applied some blue Loctite to our bolts. Now we're going to go ahead and get the grate in place here. The front two bolts here are actually 6mm, and then the rear ones here are 5mm. I think the instructions that came with this kit actually said 4 and 5, but they are 5 and 6. So I don't know if they made a change to that at some point, or if that was just a misprint. But the rear bolts here are 5mm. You just want to get them started. Get them a couple turns in there. Again, because of the cross member on my trailer, I've made it a little more difficult for myself, but could still be done. Try to hold the camera a little better. This is just because of the location on my trailer of the cross beam here. I can't get my ratchet in there, of course, which is a bit of a pain. No problem. Luckily these fit in there just right. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down, tighten these up. So you can see the gap here between the intake grate and the ride plate here, or what you'd call this this bracket here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in with, I have 3M marine silicone. Before we fill that in, we're going to clean the surface with some mineral spirits. I've got some on the rag here. Very little amount, and we're just going to go and wipe it down. So it's really hard for me to film this and do the silicone, so I'm just going to show you again. I'm going to fill in this gap right here, right along the front. I'm going to fill in these gaps along the side, because those are fairly large. And you know, you could see from the factory, I'll try to get back here. From the factory, the ride plate, it's a little sloppy, but that's factory work there, guys. The factory seals all this with silicone, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with this. Again, it's not necessary, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it can buy you as much as 1 or 2 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll give you a shot of it once I get the silicone all applied. All right, so you can see now I've got the front of the intake grate all sealed. And then those gaps you remember along the sides, those are now sealed up as well. And we're good to go.